You keep having the same nightmare. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, heart racing, skin clammy, and that strange, heavy feeling lingering long after the dream fades. Maybe you're falling, maybe you're running, maybe you're standing in the middle of a silent, unfamiliar place, completely alone. And every time you ask yourself the same thing. What was that supposed to mean? Most people chalk it up to stress or bad sleep. A strange coincidence, nothing to worry about. But what if that nightmare wasn't just your mind playing tricks on you? What if it was a sign that something inside you is already changing, and the rest of you just hasn't caught up yet? Nightmares are often misunderstood. We think they're there to scare us, that they're warnings, glitches, or leftover anxiety from the day. But sometimes they're not about fear at all. Sometimes they're about transformation, especially when a nightmare shows up over and over, hitting the same emotional nerve, always leaving you with a feeling that's hard to shake. That's not random. That's your subconscious doing the only thing it knows how to do when your waking self won't listen. It shows you what's coming next in a language you can't ignore. In this video, we're going to look at one of the most common nightmares people experience before their lives shift in a major way, not years later, right before. We'll break down what it means, why it happens, and how recognizing this dream might be the first step into a version of yourself you never expected, but might be ready for. There's something eerie about a nightmare that ends before anything is resolved. You're caught in the middle of something, running, falling, facing a threat, and then just like that, you wake up. No conclusion, no explanation, just your heart pounding in your chest and a deep sense that something important was left unfinished. These dreams don't just fade, they linger. And if you've had one like this more than once, especially if it's almost identical each time, your mind might be trying to show you something. You're not where you used to be, but you're not where you're going yet either. Dreams that end abruptly often show up in moments of life transition, the quiet kind. The kind where you haven't made a bold decision, but deep down, you know something is shifting. You're restless. You've outgrown something. You've been asking questions you're not ready to say out loud. And in that space between knowing and doing, your subconscious steps in. It creates a story that builds, tightens, heightens, and then cuts off, leaving you gasping. Why? Because you haven't faced the next step yet. So the dream can't give you an ending. This isn't just about anxiety. It's about movement, change, growth. The abrupt ending is your mind's way of saying, you're not done yet. Not with the dream, and not with whatever it's pointing to in your real life. And until you start facing the changes you're avoiding, or accepting the ones already unfolding, this dream will keep showing up, always incomplete, always intense, always asking, are you paying attention yet? One of the most common nightmares people report during times of internal conflict is being chased. You're running, sometimes through a city, sometimes a forest, sometimes a place that makes no sense at all. You don't always know who or what is after you, but you can feel it. And no matter how fast you move, it's always gaining on you. These dreams don't just make you feel fear. They make you feel hunted, cornered, desperate to escape something you don't fully understand. But what if the thing chasing you is actually a part of you? When you're on the verge of a major life shift, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, your subconscious starts pushing you to face what you've been avoiding. That might be a decision you've delayed, a truth you've buried, or a version of yourself you've outgrown but haven't fully let go of. And instead of calmly asking you to reflect, your mind creates a dream so urgent, so intense, that you have to notice it. The thing chasing you isn't just fear, it's transformation, a part of you that's ready to emerge, even if you're still clinging to the familiar. These dreams show up when you're resisting change, when you feel something shifting beneath the surface, a job no longer fulfilling, a relationship starting to crack, a sense that the life you've built no longer fits who you're becoming. And instead of confronting it, you run, and your mind chases you down. The longer you avoid that change, the more relentless the nightmare becomes. Not to punish you, but to wake you up. Because the moment you stop running in the dream is usually the moment you start changing in real life. There's a unique kind of dread that comes with falling in a dream. One second you're standing, walking, flying, and then, out of nowhere, the ground vanishes. Your stomach drops. Gravity takes over. And just before you hit the bottom, you jolt awake, breathless. Or maybe it's worse. Maybe you do hit the ground, or vanish into nothing, or find yourself lying still, unable to move. These aren't just nightmares. They're ego deaths. And they often appear right before a person undergoes a massive identity shift, a shedding of who they thought they were to make room for who they're becoming. Falling, dying, or disappearing in dreams can be terrifying, but they almost never mean physical death. What they symbolize is something far deeper: the collapse of the life, the mindset, or the self-image you've carried for years. Maybe you're letting go of a role you've played, the caregiver, the achiever, the people-pleaser. Maybe you're realizing the path you've been on no longer fits, and a part of you has to fall away before something new can take shape. These dreams feel like endings, because that's exactly what they are, just not in the way you think. What's unnerving is that this transformation rarely starts with a conscious choice. It starts with discomfort, misalignment, restlessness. And when you try to ignore those feelings, your subconscious steps in, not with a gentle nudge, but with a plunge. It drops you into the unknown to prepare you for the real-life shift already underway. And while it might feel like you're falling apart, what's really happening is that you're falling through the version of yourself that can't come with you into the next chapter. Not all nightmares are loud. Some are disturbingly quiet. You find yourself walking through an empty house, wandering an abandoned city, or floating through fog with no direction and no one around. There's no danger, no chase, no monster, just a strange stillness that feels both calm and unsettling at the same time. These dreams don't jolt you awake with fear. They leave you waking up with a deep sense of disconnection, like you're in between something, and you don't know what. And that's exactly what they mean. You're in transition, and your subconscious knows it. Empty space nightmares are some of the most misunderstood. Because they don't scream, we assume they don't matter. But in reality, they can be one of the clearest indicators that you're no longer fully connected to who you were, and not yet sure of who you're becoming. That house you're walking through, it might be a past version of your life. That fog you're drifting in. It could be the future you haven't shaped yet. These dreams don't give you answers. They make you sit in the unknown. And that's the part most people try to skip in real life. This kind of dream often surfaces after big changes, a retirement, a breakup, the end of a long-term role or identity. It's your subconscious saying you've let go, but you haven't landed yet. And the silence you feel in the dream, that's the pause between chapters, the waiting room between the life that ended and the one you haven't stepped into. It's uncomfortable, it's quiet, but it's necessary. Because before something new can begin, there has to be space. And that's exactly what these dreams are creating. Not fear, but room for what comes next. Most people try to forget their nightmares as soon as they wake up. They shake them off, call them weird, blame them on something they ate, and move on. But some dreams don't fade. They stick to you, not because they're trying to scare you, but because they're trying to prepare you. The truth is, the most intense, recurring, or emotionally charged nightmares often show up right before a major shift in your life, not after. They're not just reactions to stress. They're signals that something inside you is already changing, even if the outside hasn't caught up yet. Whether you're running from something you can't see, falling through darkness, standing in a quiet, unfamiliar place, or waking up right before something big happens, those dreams aren't mistakes. They're messages. They're how your subconscious alerts you that a version of you is ending and a new one is ready to begin. Maybe you're shedding an old identity, facing a truth you've ignored, or letting go of a life you've outgrown. And because those changes can be terrifying, your mind turns them into stories that wake you up, literally and emotionally. So the next time you wake up from one of those dreams, the kind that leaves you unsettled but curious, Don't push it away. Sit with it. Ask yourself what's changing, what's unraveling, and what might be waiting on the other side. Because if your dreams are screaming, it's not to haunt you. It's to make sure you're ready. And whether you feel it yet or not, a new phase might already be on its way.